Well, hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome. Appreciate everybody that's here currently and who may be joining this or watching this a little bit later on. This is going to be, or this is the first live stream that I plan to do. I'm hoping to do these on a monthly basis to basically be able to talk to seniors, so those who are, let's say, 55 plus, live and answer cryptocurrency related questions that may be of concern or relevant to you if you are a senior. Heck, I mean, I'll even answer questions if you're not a senior. I'm not being ageist here or anything, but excuse me, sorry. Just with this change in season here. Anyway, I am looking forward to being able to answer these questions, put out some good basic information, and hopefully educate people. Now, I was supposed to have a guest here this morning, but he's been traveling, so I'm not sure that he's even back yet. So you may just be stuck with me, and we're going to keep going, and hopefully my voice holds out here as we go forward. And it's already starting to go. Hold on one second. Oh my goodness. Let's hope I don't have to do that too many times today. Listen, if you're new here, I appreciate you being here. And if you're a senior, make sure that you are subscribing. I'm broadcasting currently on X, on YouTube, on Patreon, and on Facebook. Generally speaking, I do not go ahead and broadcast on Facebook Live anymore because Facebook ends up deleting this. So I will make sure that there will be links that'll direct you to YouTube if you end up watching this on the replay. But I appreciate everybody being here. I can see some people starting to kind of jump in, and welcome. Appreciate you being here. If you have questions today, I want you to put them in the chat. Especially senior related questions, please put them in the chat, and I will do my very best to answer them. But in the meantime, I'm going to put out some information and just kind of basically walk you through things that I think might be relevant as you are navigating your way into the cryptocurrency space. So let's see here. Oh, we got Crypto Bedell in the house. Appreciate you being here. Huge supporter of the channel, Crypto Bedell is. And you see him very often. I'm live multiple times throughout the course of the week. And Friday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern time, I'm live with just a bunch of us sitting around and having a drink and relaxing and talking crypto and God knows whatever else. And Bedell is always there. Not to mention on Monday nights at 7 p.m., myself, Bedell, and another gentleman, BC Port Corp, are live talking about relevant cryptocurrency related topics every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you join for that. Bedell, welcome. Appreciate you being here, man. Thank you so much. All right. Well, I guess let's kind of move along. If questions pop into the chat, I will. Matter of fact, let me do that so you guys can see the chat as it's running. And if it becomes, oh my God, I'm so sorry about coughing in your ear. This is killing me. It's like, oh, anyway. You don't need to worry about none of that. Okay, let's start out with some basic information. I mean, the first thing I'm guessing you want to know is what is cryptocurrency? And that is a great question. And we're going to kind of break that down a little bit today. But I know that just like listening to different things, if you start just navigating around the space, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or heck, just online, you will see that there is just a lot of varying information with regard to cryptocurrency. In particular, like, you got to remember people and the people who are parsing the information out to you. So even like myself, we have various different takes and levels of experience and levels of knowledge in the cryptocurrency space. I guess I should probably start out by saying that there's no one person that is an expert in the entirety of the cryptocurrency space. And if you come across someone online and in your navigating of the crypto space while you're trying to learn that says they are, run. Just run. Because there's no way. There's just no way to be an expert in everything. This space is too big. It is changing too constantly. And yeah, it's just quite difficult. So I know, again, if you're diving into it on your own, this can sound awfully complicated, and it. I'm going to try and break it down and make it simple to you. That being said, I want you to have some core ideas, a core level of understanding as you're coming into the space that doesn't involve a lot of jargon, doesn't involve a lot of fancy words. And believe me, this cryptocurrency space, as I guess you could say with all other like specialty spaces, have their own lingo, right? I mean, you go into a hospital, the people, the professionals in the hospital, the doctors, the nurses, they all have their own lingo. They say words, they talk in shorthand that they understand, but like maybe the average person does not. So that applies here, but I'm going to try to avoid that. I'm going to try and keep it into like pretty simple English. And again, if you have questions, I can see more people are jumping in. Welcome. Appreciate everybody being here. And if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Again, I'm trying to focus today on seniors, but if you're not a senior and you got questions, go ahead. I appreciate it. And listen, for you seniors and people who are new coming into the space, make sure you find a good community. I'm probably gonna revisit this again in the end. And I would love if it was my community. So, again, smash up that like button, subscribe, that kind of thing, so you can see the information that I put out. But it does not have to be my community. There are a lot of good communities out there. If you're not sure what communities are for you, ask. I'll help direct you. That's why I'm here. I want to help. Anyway, so let's kind of get down that rabbit hole of getting some of this information out to you. So let's start with probably something we all think we know the answer to. I remember the first time I was introduced to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, I knew this answer. And boy, was I stupid. But anyway, that being said, what is money? We got to start with like some base understanding here. Now, for most of us, the understanding of what is money, I remember when someone started talking to me about Bitcoin, and every time I tell this story, I always stop and say, if you're listening, I apologize. Because I was not necessarily the nicest guy. He was talking about Bitcoin and all the stuff that at the time was like just didn't click to me. And I remember taking whatever US bill, dollar, $10, whatever it was I had in my pocket out, waving it around and being like, this is money. This is money. And boy, I'll tell you what, I really should have I really should have listened. Anyway, I'm here to tell you that was a mistake on my part because I didn't have a full understanding exactly what money was. The US dollar is currency, and I'm gonna try very much to stay within the framework of those that verbiage as I'm going through this live stream. But if we understand what sound money is, what real money is, it helps to explain the cryptocurrency space. It's kind of like getting that secret insight into things, right? So let's talk a little bit about what, as a whole. Now, again, I'm speaking U.S. centric here. I know that there might be people watching this from outside the US, and welcome. Hopefully, a lot of the concepts that I'm putting out here can relate to via the understanding within your country. But I'm going to focus here on like a US based, US centric understanding and examples and that kind of thing that I'm utilizing here. So I appreciate your patience with that. All right. So what is money, right? We've used the US dollar, let's be honest, to live. So we, like on a day to day basis, we think that's money. Again, from my example, my stupid example from 10 years ago, if I had only listened, man, I'd be in a completely different financial boat than I am right now. But again, story for a different time. But let's ask a simple question, right? Is the US dollar a good place to store your value, your energy? So think retirement, is putting it in US dollars the best place to make that happen? I would argue no. And before I make that argument, let's break down some of these concepts that are actually considered sound money. And I put together a quick, oh, wait, it's cutting it off, man. What is going on? Anyway, I put together a quick PowerPoint here, nothing crazy, just to highlight some things as we're talking through this. Now, sound money, let's try and relate it to something that you might understand. I mean, we all probably aspire or at one time in our lives do or have owned a home, right? You want that home to be a solid foundation, man. You want it to be like a solid brick house, whatever. I get it, doesn't have to be made of brick, but follow my thought process here. But for that house to be strong and durable, it needs to have quality materials, right? It needs to be built on a good foundation. All these things that are prerequisites of going and having your house built. I mean, it's what it is. So think about sound money and what money needs to be to have those same type of principles, right? It has to be built on a sound footing. Excuse me. It has to be built on a sound footing. It has to be utilize great materials in order to be reliable, durable, etc. Well, let's go to rule number one here. Man, let me see if I bring this up full screen, if that doesn't cut it off. It's still cutting it off. Well, damn, folks, I'm sorry. I was trying to make this simple. I'll keep plugging along here because you can see most of it. But anyway, with regard to these principles, there are 3 rules that apply. First rule is it has to be a durable store of value. So what does that mean? As I put here, this means that the money should hold its purchasing power over a long period of time. So if you save for your retirement, kind of the example I was talking about earlier, you need to know that your savings will still be able to buy stuff in the future with pretty much relatively the same purchasing power that you have today, right? So let's talk an example. So let's say you buried a time capsule. Okay. So in that time capsule, you decided you're going to go ahead and put $1,000 in there. I don't know why you do that, but let's for the for the sake of argument, let's say you did that. And so you put $1,000 in that time capsule and you buried it in your yard, your backyard in 1990. So here we are now, as of the recording of this video, in 2025, right? So you dig up that time capsule and what's in there? The $1,000, right? But here's the thing. Will that $1,000 buy you the same amount of things that it did back when you buried it in 1990? No, I mean, man, depending on the size of your family, that may not even cover your grocery bill. Let's be honest. So, okay, now let's swap things around a little bit. Let's imagine that you actually buried a 1 ounce gold coin. You put that again. Well, I guess buried treasure, right? So you buried that 1 ounce gold coin and you put that in there in your backyard in 1990. At that time, gold was about $400, maybe, give or take. Today, again, as of the recording of this video, 2025, right? Gold's worth over $4,000. Now, there's a number of reasons why that's gone up. Most of it is because of the depreciation of the dollar, which we'll look at a little bit later. But basically, that gold coin did store value. So the gold meets rule number one. The US dollar does not. Okay. All right. Let's get back to this. So rule number two, it has to be a stable unit of account. So what does that mean? That means that the ruler or the measure that we're using to evaluate has to be the same. It can't be consistently shrinking, kind of like, again, with the US dollar. So let's go back to the house example I had earlier. Let's say, you before you built the house, you got all that foundation stuff squared away. One of the pieces of the foundation is you need a kind of blueprint, right? If you're building from scratch, you need a blueprint to build the house. You can't just be willy-nilly with the whole thing. So, okay, as part of that blueprint and the design of those things, there are some simple, consistent assumptions that we can all take into account with regard to the building of this, right? So, such as, like, 12 inches is a foot. Again, taking this from a US based perspective, I understand, if you're off in some other part of the world, yeah, it's not so much a 12 inches is a foot, it's centimeters, millimeters, whatever the heck it is. I don't know. I'm not the metric guy. I completely, totally US centric with regard to doing measurements. Anyway, I'm getting off track. But let's imagine for a second that 12 inches, that foot, shrank. I mean, yes, pause for dramatic effect. What would that do? It would be literally impossible to go ahead and build anything with that set of blueprints, would it? Because the goalposts, the base, the unit we use to go ahead and build what's on those blueprints has changed. It's completely changed. So, yeah, you couldn't do it. The dollar is kind of like that shrinking ruler, right? Think about anything you've purchased. Again, I'm talking to the senior crowd here. So maybe something you purchased back in the 70s that at the time, whatever it was, a car or whatever, maybe it cost you $5,000 for that car, let's say, at that time. Well, today, that car would probably cost you at least $35,000, maybe more these days. But what happened? The car didn't get like whatever that multiple is, 7 times, whatever, 10 times better. It didn't. It's the dollar got weaker, right? The dollar got weaker. And again, I'll show you a graphic for that shortly. But anyway, let's move on to rule number 3 with regard to sound money, okay? Rule number 3, it needs to be a reliable medium of exchange. And now I put it right here. Generally speaking, the US dollar is pretty good at this, right? I mean, we exchange it every day, whether it's in physical form or digital form, to purchase goods and services, honestly, across the world, because the US dollar is, as of the recording of this video, still the world reserve currency. So basically, in a nutshell, as I put in the last sentence here, it means that people are going to be willing to accept that as a form of payment, right? Okay. Now, good Lord, I'm so sorry, folks. So, again, you can go to the grocery store. We're talking about the grocery store earlier. Excuse me one second, folks. I am so sorry. Um, you can basically take the $20 bill out of your pocket, right? Go to the grocery store, any grocery store you want, and you can go ahead and use that to buy whatever. Generally speaking, you're not going to go to the grocery store with that gold coin we're talking about burying in the backyard and be buying your groceries with that, right? It is not necessarily fungible, which means exchangeable, right? So, although I will say, as a side note, that gold has become much more exchangeable in a couple of reasons. There is um, now you can utilize digital gold that is completely tracked on the blockchain. Again, I know I'm getting on concepts that we haven't covered yet, and I'm going off tangent just a little bit, but with a platform called Kinesis. I believe there's a link in the description. Go ahead and check that out. Gold, silver, and yes, you can access certain cryptocurrencies with regard to that there. But you can utilize those digital gold or digital silver to go ahead and make payments. And also, there are things like goldbacks. And I probably should have thought about that ahead of time and put a link in the description. I didn't do that, but you can look it up. Goldbacks, they're kind of like think like fancy looking gold dollar bills, or $10 bills, whatever. And these bills can physically be used to go ahead and buy goods and services. But again, for the purposes of what we're discussing today and getting the base information out there, this is you're not going to walk into the grocery store. You're not going to walk into the gas station, whatever, with your gold coin to get whatever it is that you're trying to purchase. So again, the dollar becomes a good medium of exchange with regard to that, but at the end of the day, it's just not the long-term savings option that is going to work for many of us. So, anyway, I see a lot of other people jumping in. Appreciate all of you. Just a quick shout out to the community. And listen, again, for the seniors who are either just kind of lurking in the background here, you're not wanting to ask any questions at this time. I understand. Feel free to just jump into the chat on whatever platform you're on, and it'll show up here for me to answer your question. I'll be glad to do that. And I appreciate you even watching. If you're watching this on the replay, you can go ahead and access the live chat if you want. But put your questions, if you're again watching this on the replay, into the comments, and I will answer them. But I mentioned earlier, as I started this video, started this live stream out, that you definitely, as you're doing your research and trying to find your way here into this space, you need to find a good community of people. And I would love to be that community for you, but as you're looking around, let me highlight a couple of other communities. Billy Goat Tales, link is in the description. Crypto Billy was supposed to be here with me this morning. Like I said, I'm guessing he's still on the traveling end of things. If he makes it in, we'll bring him up and we'll have him chime on in here. But great community of people who go out of their way to help whoever needs it, quite frankly. Also, Piper Academy. Now, I love Army Piper. He focuses more on the macroeconomics and how it affects cryptocurrency and, quite frankly, our economy. So if you're looking at things through that lens, if you're a senior who's looking at things from that lens, again, link in the description of this, you should be following those communities. I'll see you there. That's basically that, because I am part of their communities as well. Appreciate all of that. And again, to the point of these communities are awesome. In the chat, K Diggity, welcome, has just put in the link right here to JM Bullion. If you are of a certain age, You probably already know and or have dealt with JM Bullion. But right here, he's giving you the link where you can get access to Goldbacks. Thank you, K Diggity. Much appreciated. Excuse me, guys. Man. Okay. Sorry. And Dave Digital, who is part of the Billy Goat Tales team, welcome, Dave Digital. He just had his own podcast at 9 o'clock this morning, every Saturday, 9 a.m. Check out the Simple Terms podcast. Okay. Question: are the generic depends good enough? Man, not what I was looking for in the questions here today, but I actually do appreciate the question. And yeah, as he continues on with the questions. Listen, I appreciate everybody, but we're going to keep on keeping on here as we move on because I want to get this wrapped up within the hour for anybody, especially who might be watching this on the replay. Okay, so we just went through what is sound money. Now we kind of got a base. What are we looking for with regard to having retaining our purchasing power, with regard to being able to focus that into things that we can utilize? Now, I'm not just because I advocate and try to educate in the cryptocurrency space doesn't mean I am anti gold or silver, not even remotely. You should be able to and actually diversify your portfolio. I should probably put this up here. I say all the time on my shows that I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I'm just an old guy out here on the interwebs trying to help educate people, get you to think. I want you to think and take your circumstances, bring it together, and what makes sense for you. And, you know, seniors are definitely a growing demographic here in the cryptocurrency space, which is what's prompted me to do this. So let's, now that we got that base, move on and see. So the next piece of the puzzle here that I want you to understand today is that then yeah, let's try that again. Then Bitcoin kind of came about. Let's talk a little bit about that because it's I'm not going to get into a deep dive into that whole history of things, but in the description there are links to checklists and outlines that will give you a lot more of that history, including links to videos that I've already done that go into much deeper detail into that. But basically speaking, understand to help you understand the foundation of the space. You all know in 2008 we had the financial crisis, right? Basically, the banks too big to fail were failing. So, you know, the governments stepped in across the globe to inject, well, not inject, they bailed them out with our money. Let's just call it what it is. We were robbed, folks. Anyway, on the other side of that, we had a person or group of people named Satoshi Nakamoto that came up with the idea of Bitcoin. So what I mean, I wasn't there obviously, but my what are some of the questions they were probably asking themselves, right? I like to think like they were asking, well, how can we create a digital form of sound money? You know, how can we create a digital money that we can just exchange back and forth to each other? Think for example, like, you know, you're going to buy something in a store, hell, just from another person. What do? You pull your US dollar or $10, whatever, out of your pocket, you hand it to them, that's it, the transaction's over. Well, I would like to think that that's what they were looking, Satoshi was looking to put together when they developed Bitcoin, right? Pretty simple, sound. You don't need, and here's the thing, You don't need a third party bank in between you. So even if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to buy something from someone. So I'm here in the US and I wanted to buy something from someone in England. I may have to send a wire transfer. In order to do that wire transfer, I have to go to the bank, have to get it set up to send that person money, right? And at the end of the day, the bank could say, no, 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 we don't like that country, so you can't send them money. Well, Bitcoin basically allows you to do exactly what it is you need to do. And again, we're focusing on Bitcoin right now to get that transfer value, that money over to, so for me, to the person I'm doing business with in England, I don't need anybody in the middle to do it. It's a click of a couple of buttons, scan of a QR code maybe, and boom, bang, it's done. And guess what? Nobody's saying no. Facts of the matter. Nobody's saying no. All right. Anyway, let's I mentioned that we need to kind of consider that, okay, Bitcoin also, and probably its newest function, I guess, is as a store of value. Kind of think digital gold. So a lot of people back in a century ago, what would they do? Governments, banks, they would get gold, they would put it in their vaults, and that would be their reserves, right? Well, Bitcoin is a digital form of that these days. To that end, the good piece about it, because remember, we're talking about burying that gold coin, it held its value, right? Same thing with this Bitcoin. The idea is that in this digital gold ideal, it will hold its value when banks come to utilize it in the future, or banks, when you, I, and these entities, governments, whoever, come to utilize it in the future. And listen, end of the day, it's a better form of savings than the dollar. We've already established that by going through those sound money principles, right? But think about this. You have and will have access to this at any time if you do what's called self-custody here in this space. Again, it's going to be beyond what we're going to talk about here today. We're gonna touch on it briefly, but like not going to get into great detail today. To that end, you've got governments, you've got businesses, heck, exchange traded funds, all taking in things like Bitcoin and basically holding them. This is because of that digital gold narrative, because our dollar is just declining in a very rapid rate. So many of you have probably already seen this graphic right here, where the dollar purchasing power just dropping, excuse me, off a cliff. Sorry, folks, trying to wet the whistle here. Proving to the point of why the putting your retirement savings into the dollar is probably not a smart idea. Okay, but let's kind of move on here to the next point. You need to understand some of the basics about cryptocurrency, right? Probably the best way to think about it, again, if Bitcoin is like digital gold, which again, probably the most current narrative. I mean, at the end of the day, right? You can't take that Bitcoin and put it in your pocket. Remember my story from the beginning? I was pulling that dollar out and waving it around, right? The like, no, this is money. Well, again, I was wrong. We use here in the cryptocurrency space, again, we're going to touch on it, but we're not going to go into great detail about it. If you want to jump ahead and do that, I've got a number of videos on my YouTube channel you can do to go through to take a look at what a cryptocurrency wallet is. But basically, again, think of it like a digital wallet, okay? A digital form of your checking account, right? I guess. It is your piggy bank. It is where you're taking your Bitcoin and you're throwing it in to the piggy bank here. So you now that you've got that idea, let me give you an example. So you're already utilizing this kind of thing, whether you know it or not, right? Generally speaking, what happens when you get your pension? If you're still working, your paycheck, your social security check, if you are at that point in your journey here, right? It just gets deposited into your checking account or your bank, right? Why? Basically, they're just transferring ones and zeros from wherever you're getting it, again, pension, paycheck, social security, over into your bank account. And now that's just numbers on the screen, let's be honest. But why do you think that money's there? Because you see the numbers on the screen and the bank says, yeah, it's here. Even though, let's not get down the road of with fractional reserve banking and all this other stuff that it's not technically there. But for the purposes of this, because the bank says so, you think it's there, right? You trust the bank at this point, which is a whole nother conversation we might have to have on one of these Q&A sessions. But your cryptocurrency wallet, as we use these cryptocurrency wallets here in the space, is pretty much like that. Okay, pretty much like that. And you basically, in order to access that, now, if you are trying to access your checking account, right, you have a login, you have a PIN, maybe a password, whatever, to go and access your checking account. Well, here in the cryptocurrency space, you have something that's called a private key. And think of it as that password, I guess, that gives you access to whatever digital holdings you have, your Bitcoin, like we've been talking about in this case, but basically your digital assets. That's what we're talking about. So again, if you're a senior and you're coming into this space, I guess my point is, don't be overwhelmed. It's with a little bit of understanding of what you're already using, you can translate a lot of that information into what you you need to be going and doing to be here in the cryptocurrency space. Now, it's not a question, excuse me, but I want to bring this up where he's saying BTC only. Now, if you're, again, even if you're watching this on the replay and you're just coming into the cryptocurrency space and you need to get into this thing, you feeling like you missed the boat, maybe, whatever. You haven't, first off, let's be honest. You haven't missed the boat. You still, it doesn't matter, because again, think about this. I'm going to assume, kind of like I do, I put aside 25 bucks a week every single week. I DCA, dollar cost average, into cryptocurrency. Most of it, the majority of it, $15, goes into Bitcoin. Why? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, Bitcoin's the big daddy currently. It's the one getting the most adoption. It is the one that has that digital gold narrative. It is the one that continues to grow in price year over year, or excuse me, value year over year, etc. So makes sense to have the majority there. Then I do put into some what's called altcoins. So basically something that's not Bitcoin. Okay. But if you're just coming into this space, oh, I'm sorry, I got off my talk there. And then I take that and I put it aside in a wallet, a hardware wallet. And again, we're going to get into that more later. And I put it aside for my grandchildren. Now, I'm going to guess if you're a senior coming in here, you're probably looking to do something very similar to that. If you're a senior, you probably have adult children already, but you may still want to go ahead and put some money aside for them. And then again, for grandchildren, etc. And here's the thing. The longer the time frame that this stuff's being held, so Bitcoin in this particular example, the more likelihood is that this is going to appreciate in value. Again, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, old guy, interwebs, an old guy that's telling you what he's doing to help transfer some of my little wealth I have to the next generation and my generation after that, and so on and so forth. So if that's what you're looking to do, you are in the right place. You are not late. You are right on time to catch this curve. And I would suggest, to the point of that comment I had just put up on the screen, that you start with Bitcoin. Your initial sets of investments should probably be BTC. And again, number of ways you would be able to do that. We'll get into it on future Q&A sessions. I appreciate everybody for being here. But if you're looking, if you're watching this on the replay, links are in the description. Go ahead, check it out for exchanges to be able to do those purchases and so on. Man, this does not want to go. Now, that's the basis set of information I wanted to get through today with you. So again, if you're a senior right now and you're lurking in the background here and you're just kind of watching and wanting to see what's going on, because I can see I definitely got more people watching than I do interacting in the chat. And hey, it's okay. I understand. I get it. Maybe you don't want to put questions out there. No problem. No problem. This is a safe space. End of day. Nobody's going to question you, make fun of you, whatever, because of your question. That's not how it works here. We all come in with a different understanding of what's going on. And we have our own experiences and stuff that shape our view of these things that we're talking about today. But watch, I'm going to try and do this again on a monthly basis. So if you subscribe, you'll get notified when those kind of things happen. Okay, let's recap, and then I will wrap up this live stream. So if you do have a question, now's the time to put it in there to try and get it answered here live today. Excuse me. So we started out today talking about basically what is sound money, right? Because if you don't have any understanding of what sound money is, that's gonna like just put your house, like we're talking about, building that house on just rocky ground, on unsure footing, right? So you need to understand the difference between, we talked about the difference between currency and money. Something like the US dollar is currency because it's just a medium of exchange, right? Back and forth every day, versus something that's sound money, something that holds its value, such as in the example we gave, burying the $1,000 or burying the gold coin. The gold coin held its value. So things like gold, silver, excuse me, and in this case, what we're calling digital gold, Bitcoin, in the sound money category. And then we talked, speaking of that digital gold, then we talked about how Bitcoin not only became that peer-to-peer, like I can exchange value with you for whatever it is that we want to pay for, service or item, etc. But we can also take our money, much like we're literally just talking about, and put it into a wallet and just save it and have our economic energy, all the stuff we've worked for, hold its value into the future and be a way to help create wealth for our future generations, right? Again, speaking to this demographic, your grandchildren, for example, maybe even great grandchildren. So we've talked about that today, but I want you to realize, and again, we mentioned about how you got digital wallets. Again, we're going to go through that. Feel free to go to my channel, find what you need to find in order to go and get that information together. But I want you to walk away with the understanding that I know that this is a new journey for many seniors. I know that it's kind of a new way of thinking for many of you, but you are not alone in this journey. You're just not. There are people here who are good and honest people who are willing to help you. Links to a lot of that and those people are in the description. So if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead. Go follow groups like I mentioned, Billy Goat Tales, Piper Academy, Army Piper and his crew. Or I would love to have you here in my community. You got questions, don't hesitate. Reach out, ask. I want to help. I want to help. That's going to pretty much do it for this. I appreciate everybody and my community here supporting me throughout this this live stream. I appreciate you for watching this as well. Again, watch for the upcoming streams. Again, I'm going to try and lay these out every month, but as of the recording of this video, we got holidays kind of coming into the mix here, so that may preclude doing that next month, but we'll see. I'm going to try. But watch for it. It's going to be coming. We're going to continue the education in this format down the proverbial road to help give you the information you need to understand cryptocurrency, understand money, and understand how you can get into this space and walk through, being able to get cryptocurrency, and again, Bitcoin in this case, and preserve it for you and your posterity. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. I hope everyone has a great day, and I will see you in the next Q&A session.